Shalom, shalom. Praise Yah. All right, today we're going to talk a little bit about the Passover and unleavened bread. But first, you know it. Baruch are all who revere Yahuwah and walk in his way. Blessed are those who revere, who reverence Yahuwah the Most High. All righty, that's Psalms 128, verse 1. So we know this is the season that we commemorate Passover and unleavened bread. Everyone does. There's so many people who do it many different ways, have different calendars, and everyone, it's just so many things. There's so much confusion as to how to, when to, and just all those different things. And so every year, since I really got more committed to this, I have listened to this person, this message and that message, and talking to people that I know, and I just always felt like I was falling short. I started back in 2011 wanting to keep the feast days. I remember when it came to Yom Kippur, in the fall feast, I even took time off from work and just would stay in my bedroom and just devote my time. And so I've been trying for a few years. And like I said, in the last few years, I've been more committed, but still not very comfortable. Always felt I was falling short. So, I'm still a student of this. I'm not a scholar. So what I want to share with you is just going to be my own personal experience of how things went last year for me. So let's begin reading in Exodus 12 with the original Passover, the very first Passover. And we're going to read about the instructions that Yahuwah gave Moshe. And Elohim spoke unto Moses and Aharon in the land of Egypt, Mizraim, saying, This month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It's not in the fall, okay? It's in the spring. It shall be the first month of the year to you. Speak unto all the congregation of Yisrael, saying, In the 10th day of this month they shall take to them every man a lamb, according to the house of their fathers, a lamb for an house. And if the household be too little for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next unto his house take it according to the number of the souls. Every man according to his eating shall make your account for the lamb. Your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year. You shall take it out from the sheep or from the goats, and you shall keep it up until the 14th day of the same month. And the whole assembly of the congregation of Yisrael shall kill it in the evening, one accord. Okay, and they shall take of the blood and strike it on the two side posts and on the upper door posts of the houses, wherein they shall eat it. And they shall eat the flesh in that night, roast with fire and unleavened bread, and with the bitter herbs they shall eat it. Eat not of it raw nor sodden at all with water, but roast with fire, his head with his legs, and with the entrails, guts thereof. And you shall let nothing of it remain until the morning, and that which remains of it until the morning you shall burn with fire. And you shall eat it with your loins girded, your shoes on your feet, and your staff in your hand, and you shall eat it in haste. It is Elohim's Passover. For I will pass through the land of Egypt this night, and will smite all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both man and beast, and against all the gods of Egypt I will execute judgment. I am Elohim. And the blood shall be to you for a token upon the houses where you are, and when I see the blood, I will pass over you, and the plague shall not be upon you to destroy you when I smite the land of Egypt. And this day shall be unto you a memorial, and you shall keep it a feast to Elohim throughout your generations. You shall keep it a feast by an ordinance forever. 7 days shall you eat unleavened bread. Even the first day you shall put away leaven out of your houses. For whosoever eats leavened bread from the first day until the 7th day, that soul shall be cut off from Israel. And in the first day there shall be a set apart convocation. And in the 7th day, there shall be a set apart convocation to you. No manner of work shall be done in them, save that which every man must eat, that only may be done of you. And you shall observe the feast of unleavened bread, for in this selfsame day have I brought your armies out of the land of Egypt. Therefore you shall observe this day in your generations by an ordinance forever. In the first month, on the 14th day of the month at Eden, you shall eat unleavened bread until the 21st day of the month at Eden. 7 days shall be no leaven found in your houses, for whoever eats that which is leaven, even that soul shall be cut off from the congregation of Yisrael. whether he be a stranger or born in the land. You shall eat nothing leavened, in all your habitations shall you eat unleavened bread. Then Moses called for all the elders of Israel and said unto them, Draw out and take a lamb according to your families and kill the Passover. And you shall take a bunch of hyssop and dip it in the blood that is in the basin and strike the lintel and the two side posts with the blood that is in the basin. And none of you shall go out of the door of his house until the morning. For Elohim will pass through to smite the Egyptians, and when he sees the blood upon the lintel and on the two side posts, Elohim will pass over the door and will not suffer the destroyer to come into your houses to smite you. And you shall observe this thing for an ordinance to you and to your sons forever. And it shall come to pass when you come to the land which Elohim will give you, according as he has promised you, that ye shall keep this service. And it shall come to pass, when your children shall say unto you, What mean you by this service? Then you shall say, It is the sacrifice of Elohim's Passover, who passed over the houses of the children of Yisrael in Egypt, when he smote the Egyptians and delivered our houses. And the people bowed the head and worshipped. And the children of Israel went away and did as Elohim had commanded Moses and Aaron. So did they. Okay, so now we're in Matthew 26 and 7. Now the first day of the feast of unleavened bread, the disciples came to Yahusha, saying unto him, Where wilt thou that we prepare for you to eat the Passover? Did you hear that? The first day of the feast of unleavened bread, right? They're talking about where can we go to prepare for you the Passover. And that's what we saw in Exodus. The first day of unleavened bread is the same day, the same evening that they are going to eat the Passover. And he said, Go into the city to such a man and say unto him, that the master saith, My time is at hand. I will keep the Passover at your house with my disciples. And the disciples did as Yahusha had appointed them, and they made ready the Passover. Now when the evening was come, he sat down with the 12. So remember, Moses told them that they were going to eat the lamb at evening. And this is what they did. Yahusha and his taught ones did. Okay, so the first day of unleavened bread is the same day as Passover. So last year, I used the unleavened bread days to concentrate on my ways that are fleshly, and every day I would talk to AbbaYah about them, knowing that a little leaven leavens the whole lump. You can read that in Galatians 5. And when you think about it, Galatians 5, verse 9. When you think of, if you know anything about baking bread, all it takes is a little bit of yeast to bake bread. And so leaven does to sin what leaven does to flour in baking. In Matthew 6, it kind of gives us light on that. The light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. But if thine eye be evil, thy whole body shall be full of darkness. If therefore the light that is in you is darkness, how great is that darkness? No man can serve two masters, for either he will hate one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve Yah and Mammon. Matthew 16, verse 1. The Pharisees also with the Sadducees came, and tempting desired him that he would show them a sign from heaven. And he answered and said unto them, When it is evening, you say it will be fair weather, for the sky is red. In the morning it will be foul weather. Today, for the sky is red and lowering. O you hypocrites, you can discern the face of the sky, but you cannot discern the signs of the time. You cannot discern the signs of the time. A wicked and adulterous generation seeks after a sign, and there shall no sign be given unto it but the sign of the prophet Jonas. And he left them and departed. And when his disciples, his taught ones, were come to the other side, they had forgotten to take bread. Then Yahusha said unto them, Take heed and beware the leaven of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees. And they reasoned among themselves, saying, It is because we have taken no bread. Which when Yahusha perceived, he said unto them, O ye of little faith, why reason you among yourselves, because you have brought no bread? Do you not yet understand, neither remember the 5 loaves of the 5,000? And how many baskets took you up? Neither the 7 loaves of the 4,000? And how many baskets did you take up? How is it that you do not understand that I spake it not to you concerning bread, that you should beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and Sadducees? Then they understood how that he bade them not beware of the leaven of bread, but of the doctrines of the scribes, the Pharisees and the Sadducees. Then in Luke 12, a similar story. In the meantime, when there were gathered together an innumerable multitude of people, insomuch that they trode upon one another, he, Yahusha, began to say unto his taught ones, first of all, beware of the leaven of the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy. So are we saying one thing and doing another? We don't want that. We don't want that leaven. We don't want that leaven. Oh my. So going back to the subject of unleavened bread. So last year, I just reread the scriptures like I just read to you, and I saw the dates, and so that's one thing that changed. I felt so much better last year. I still feel like I fell a little short, but I was feeling better because I wasn't going here and there with what this person's doing, what that person's doing. So I did that, and then I said that I had never heard anyone do this, but there's probably some people who did, because I'm slow a lot of times with things. I find out later, oh, people already were doing it, but that's okay in my time, because when I get it, I get it. So I used that time to concentrate on the leaven that's in my life, and things that I know I got to get rid of. Ways, fleshly ways that some people say, well, I've always been like this. Well, that's not, no. So some ways, about me that I know more than likely not pleasing to the Father and could possibly keep me from eternity with him. So I did that. And while I was doing, I realized that, religion has gotten a hold of it, and there's one group of people that use that time and they're using it wrong. And I said, oh my goodness, here we go, religion again, taking the truth and just stretching it to be religious. I'll just look at the traditions of men. But I really was very comfortable last year with doing it this way. Focusing on the leaven, focusing on things that were not pleasing to him and putting it before him. Anything that's confusion, like what I was going through. The book of James, James 3:16 says that wherever there's confusion is every evil work. So, all right. So knowing that my Passover lamb has already been slain, praise be to Yah, that Yahusha came and did everything he was supposed to do. He did always the things that pleased the Father, so that he was able to present himself as the clean, pure, unblemished lamb, so that he could sacrifice himself for our sins. And so that's already done. So that helped me not to start going around looking to buy some lamb, which I don't know where the lamb came from. And in some part, who knows where they be deceiving us so much, might not even be lamb. You know what I mean? So I said, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going that way. My lamb has already been sacrificed. He is sitting at the right hand of the Father. So I'm not going to do that. Father, so what I'm going to do this year, and this is I'm talking about last year, is I am going to concentrate on the leaven in my life. And as I eat unleavened bread, natural unleavened bread, I am asking you to bless me to be freer of the leaven in my life. So I'm going to go back to reading Exodus 12. And it says, your lamb shall be without blemish, a male the first year. You shall take it out of the sheep or from the goats, and you shall keep it until the 14th day of the same month. And the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening. Okay, so that's where we're not at right now. We're not all on the same page. Everybody had to do it at the same time. We're not there yet. We're striving. We're going to get there because he loves us, and we have to be all on one page. So we're going to get there. So what I want to talk about now are the dates, the unleavened bread dates. So verse 17, Exodus 12, verse 17, and you shall observe the feast of unleavened bread, for in the selfsame day have I brought your armies out of the land of Egypt. Therefore shall you observe this day in your generations by an ordinance forever. Hear this. In the first month, on the 14th day of the month at evening, you shall eat unleavened bread until the 21st day of the month at evening. Okay, what else is happening on the 14th day? The 14th day was the day that they were to kill the lamb. So first day of unleavened bread is the same day, well, what we call Passover. It happens, the first day of unleavened bread is on Passover. It's not the next day, as what we're going to read here in Leviticus 23, verse 5. In the 14th day of the first month at evening is Elohim's Passover. And on the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread unto Elohim. 7 days you must eat unleavened bread. In the first day you shall have a Kodesh convocation, and you shall do no several work therein. Okay, that can't be true, because on the first day of unleavened bread is the same day of the Passover, but they had to kill the lamb and they had to roast it. So they did work. But I'm not going to get into all that part. The main thing I'm trying to say is the first day of unleavened bread, according to what I'm reading, you be led of Yah. I feel very confident and very secure in what I'm reading, that the first day of unleavened bread is the same day as Passover. Okay, so Leviticus 23, I don't know what happened. I don't know if it's an interpretation. I don't know what happened, but the first account is in Exodus when Moses got his instructions. Him and Aharon got their instructions from Yahuwah, and they told the people. So I'm going with that. The first day of unleavened bread is the day of Passover. And then when he said that you're gonna do it for 7 days, and then he says, okay, so verse 18, in the first month, on the 14th day of the month at evening, ye shall eat unleavened bread until the 21st day of the month at evening. 7 days shall there be no leaven found in your houses, for whosoever eats that which is leavened, even that soul shall be cut off from the congregation Yesharel, whether he be stranger or born in the land. You shall eat nothing leavened in all your habitations. You shall you eat unleavened bread. So that's what I'm going with. And so that's what I got. And I felt real, like I said, I felt really, really, really good about that. So in what I did last year, what I'm going to do this year, and hopefully, he'll add more to it, is that I know that I do not do a lamb. I'm not doing a lamb. And unless he tells me otherwise. I concentrate on the leaven that's in my life, because I don't want darkness in my life. And he says, because if your eye be full of darkness, how great is that darkness? I don't want darkness. And I know there's some things about me that are not lining up with certain scriptures and certain expectations that he has for his people, for his bride. And so I'm working on those things. And so every time I will eat unleavened bread, I will be talking to him about the leaven in my life and just laying it before him and asking him to help me to have no leaven in my life. So there was a part where he says, now this is what I wasn't doing until I saw this. Here's something else I wasn't doing. So I knew that we were not supposed to eat leaven, right? So I wasn't eating leaven. And it was out of my house. But what I didn't see was that I am supposed to eat unleavened. So you don't eat the leaven, but you eat the unleavened. So I think that's verse 20. Let's see if I can find verse 20. Okay, yes. So verse 20, you shall eat nothing leavened. So Exodus 12, verse 20, you shall eat nothing leavened in all your habitations. Ye shall eat unleavened bread. So I was like, oh my goodness. So all those years when I was, oh my goodness, trying and failing and trying to keep this feast, I was not eating leaven, because I said, well, I got the leaven out of my house, so I'm not eating leaven, so I'm good. But the second part is, okay, so the first part is you shall eat nothing leavened. But the second part is you shall eat unleavened. So I said, oh, I'm supposed to be eating unleavened bread every day. Okay, call me slow, because probably everybody who's listening to this probably already knew that. I didn't know it. And so just in case there's somebody else who didn't know it, this message is for you and me. We are to eat unleavened bread every day. It's not enough to not eat the leaven. We're supposed to be eating unleavened. Yeah, I know I'm slow. It's okay. I got it now. So I got a recipe for unleavened bread last year, and I'm going to be making it again this year. Every day eating unleavened bread. Eat it every day for 7 days. You eat the unleavened bread. I know. I'm listening to myself now, and I know it sounds like, why didn't you know that? I didn't. I just thought I was doing right by not eating the leaven, getting it out of my house and not eating it. So that's something that I now do. And so that's really all that I have. Just want to encourage you to work at being free of those things that are leaven in our lives, and so that we can be free of them. Paul talks about it in Hebrews 12 that, we don't want to be all tangled up and stuff. We're trying to run a race, and we don't want to be all tangled up, with things that so easily beset us. I'm going to find that in Hebrews. And there's another one, but I don't know if I'll be able to find it. But this is a great time in our lives. We know that our Messiah has already come and proven himself to be worthy to be the sacrificial lamb. And so we're grateful for that. And we now have to work on ourselves. He said, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. So that's what we're having to do. So I'm trying to get to Hebrew 12. And I had told you Galatians 5 and 9 about the leavening. A little leaven leavens the whole lump. Isn't that something? And isn't that true? If we have sin in our lives, it can blow up into something. That's why in parenting, when we see a behavior in our children, don't think it's cute or that they're going to outgrow it. They ain't outgrowing nothing. You have to squash that with the word and with discipline, and because it's going to grow. It's going to grow. It's not going anywhere. It's going to stay there. And so we have to do our part. So Hebrews 12. We too then, having so great a cloud of witnesses all around us, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which so easily entangles us, and let us run with endurance the race put before us. So if we have sins, and we have weights that easily entangle us, imagine a runner, because then he goes on to say, let us run with endurance the race put before us. If someone is running and stuff keeps tangling around his legs, what's going to happen? More than likely, he's going to fall. He's going to fall, and then he has to get himself all entangled again to be able to jump up and start on that race again. So during this time of unleavened bread, we can seek Yah for help to be free of that leaven. And isn't that what people do when they fast? They fast for different reasons, but sometimes people fast to be free of things in their lives. And so we can look at this as a fast from the leaven. We're fasting ourselves from the leaven that's in breads and cakes and all those things. We're not eating that. We're forbidding ourselves from eating that. So that's fasting. We're forbidding ourselves. We're refraining from eating that. That's a fast. So while we're fasting from those things, may we grow in the things that are of Yah and be free as we eat the unleavened bread. Yah, we're partaking of that which is not of sin, not leavened, so that we can be pleasing to you and walk right before you and be free, so we can run this race. Without being weighed down and all tripped up. So that's all I had for today. I just wanted to share with you my experience last year, and I pray that you will enjoy your feast unto Yahuwah. It's a feast unto Yahuwah. And that's another thing. I commemorated him on the great Exodus and how he just proved himself strong to the pagans who had abused his people, and how he just showed his hand to be strong, and And then how he had them do the Passover lamb as a shadow of what was to come, how he would actually send a sacrificial lamb for us that we can be delivered from the hands of the enemy, and that the blood of the sacrificial lamb that he sent from above would cover us and protect us from the death angel. And so that's those are the things I was doing, just thanking him. And I read, that's right, I read scriptures of the account of that time frame. And so I just spent that time in worshiping him and just commemorating what happened, and thanking him for the lamb that he sent. And then the other part was, and when eating my unleavened bread, hallelujah, praising Yah, I thanked him for blessing me to realize my shortcomings and asking him to help me to get it right. And guess what? I got some more things I got to lay before him, constantly cleaning. He said our heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? The muck and the mire that's in us. Oh my. Has he ever reminded you of something you did in the past, and now that you're Kodesh, and you're working to be set apart and be a law keeper and observe his Torah and do things that please in his sight. Now he brings back stuff from your past. You're like, oh my, you cover your eyes, and that's me. I'm covering my eyes and I'm like, oh Father, oh my. It's sickening, it's saddening, it's disgusting and heavy, because you can't go back, because especially if you hurt somebody and you're like, wow, they're gone, I can't even get it right. But Father, I thank you for showing it to me so I can get it right with you. So all right. I love you in Yahuwah. It's so good to know that in him we win. We win all the time. Keep fighting the fight and keep running the race. Praise be to Yah, praise be to Yah, praise be to Yah. We win in him. We are overcomers because him already overcoming the world. And we are in him, and we're protected in him, and we are one with him, and he's one with the Father, and all of us are one. So enjoy your feast day. Enjoy the feast day, the time of commemorating what the great Elohim did and how he showed himself to be strong, that other nations knew about what he had done. And may it be so in our lives, that people who are watching us and seeing our lives can see his work in our lives. All right, we praise him. We give him all praise and worship and esteem. We win in Yahuwah. Be excited. We win.